The webinar then. So good morning, good afternoon, or good evening to everyone, depending on where you are connecting from. To introduce myself, I'm Shashidhar, and I'm part of the Citrix Ready team leading the mobility ecosystem. I would like to thank you everyone for attending this webinar today, and I would like to welcome you all to the Citrix Ready product webinar series on Comtrade's monitoring Citrix mobile workspace solution with System Center. We have Bogdan Vihar, Comtrade product director, and John Lee, director global account management, who will talk about the product in a while. Bogdan, if you could move to the next slide, please. Thank you. So speaking of the Citrix Ready program, this is an end-to-end technology partner program that showcases and recommends third-party products, solutions, and services as well that demonstrate compatibility with Citrix products. Customers can quickly and easily find solutions recommended by Citrix in the Citrix Ready marketplace by navigating to www.citrixready.com. For more information on the Citrix Ready program, you can navigate to citrix.com/partnerproducts/citrixready. So before we start with the presentation, if you have any questions during the webinar, please use the question panel on the right-hand side of GoToWebinar tool, and we will take your questions in the QA session at the end. So without any further delay, please welcome Bogdan to begin today's presentation. Hi Bogdan, over to you.
Thank you, Shashidhar. So welcome everyone. Today we will begin with a few words about Comtrade and then outline why System Center is important in the context of Citrix. Then we'll continue with a short introduction to the Citrix Workspace suite, which will lead us then to the main topic of today's presentation, which is how to use Microsoft System Center Operations Manager, or SCOM for short, to deliver full end-to-end monitoring across the entire Citrix Workspace suite. We'll, of course, spice everything up with a number of demos during the presentation. But first, a few words about Comtrade. Some of you already know us. We've been around for more than 25 years now, and we are one of the largest software development companies in Southeastern Europe, with more than 1,000 engineers and international presence. We've been also a long-time partner of both Microsoft and Citrix, and have achieved significant partnership levels with both companies. You can also regularly see us at their conference events as exhibitors, for example. In fact, we are just getting ready to attend the Microsoft Ignite event in Chicago and the Citrix Synergy in Orlando, which are going to be first and second week of May, but more on that later. So in the last few years, we have also our Citrix monitoring solution has also been selected finalist for the Best of Synergy and Best of Tech Awards, giving us additional credibility also from independent industry reviewers. So why should monitoring using System Center be on the top of your list, especially if you run business-critical Citrix environment? Well, to begin with, analysts tell us that Microsoft, with their System Center product family, is the only vendor out of the big five that is demonstrating notable market share growth in the area of IT operations management. And System Center, as part of that, is a comprehensive platform that delivers robustness and scalability, as well as visibility and manageability balanced with attractive TCO and time to value. At the same time, what we find as Comtrade is that a large percentage of Citrix customers are already entitled to use System Center, and really for them all it takes is to deploy, is to get trained and start using it. So to make this move even simpler for Citrix customers, Comtrade has been for more than 7 years now delivering a native System Center plugin that extends its monitoring capabilities to the Citrix platform. So for customers, this basically means faster diagnosis and resolution of Citrix issues, increased IT operations productivity, and ability to leverage investment into a System Center platform. Okay, let's now switch tracks to Citrix and to the latest solution called the Citrix Workspace suite. Well, we all know, right? Today's reality is that employees need to be able to work from a variety of locations and devices. So what you need to support these trends as an IT organization is a true mobile workspace environment that is portable, that is always on, and follows individuals wherever they go. Of course, this is not just as simple as exposing all the desktops and apps and data that they need to do their work, right, to be accessible from anywhere. You basically also need kind of a way to control access to all these resources to at least, make sure bad guys stay out. And of course, you need to be able to let the good guys have access to the right information, to right desktops, to right apps that they need to do their work. So this is why you need, in front of apps and data, some kind of access and control layer. Now, it does not end here, of course. At the front end, you still need to be able to optimize and secure desktop and app and data delivery, and also to accommodate any type of network the user might be using. So this front layer will, we can conveniently then call network and security layer. And of course, at the back end, we always need to have some kind of infrastructure services layer that the entire mobile workspace solution relies on. So this makes our mobile workspace solution design, in a way, complete, right? And as it happens, there is, of course, one solution on the market that ticks all the boxes of this particular design and approach. And not only that, it has also market-leading technologies in every area that and all these technologies integrate out of the box. And this solution is, of course, called the Citrix Workspace Suite. So the Citrix Workspace Suite delivers, as we know, secure access to apps, desktops, data, and any other services that you may expose as an organization from any device of any network. So making it, by definition, then a fully integrated mobile workspace solution. Well, but most of us on the call today are techies, right? So we also want to see things, how things work under the hood, right? So how does it all work? What Citrix components do you need to be able to set this up, and how do you connect them together to deliver the complete Citrix Workspace Suite? So let's take a look. To those of you who are familiar with Citrix technology, the Citrix Workspace Suite's components on this slide now are quite well known, right? So names such as Netscaler, Xendesktop, Xenmobile, ShareFile are really the key building blocks to deliver the mobile and Windows apps, desktops, and data. But let's see how these components actually work together to deliver what I like to call the main Workspace Suite use cases, right? So the first use case that we are going to talk about is the delivery of Windows desktops and applications. In this particular use case, a mobile user would typically access a Windows desktop or application by going via Netscaler, Storefront, and desktop delivery controllers, and then connect to the actual desktops and apps. Provisioning services component may or may not be involved, depends on the design, right? So the second use case is management and delivery of mobile devices and applications. So using, as we know, the Works Home application, the mobile device, device manager and app controller are able to enforce mobile settings and security. They stay compliant with organizations' policies, and in that way deliver mobile web and SaaS applications to the device. And then there's, of course, the third, let's call it a use case, to access the corporate data. This third use case is about, of course, ShareFile, and in order for users to actually be able to connect to the data, they first need to be authenticated by the so-called ShareFile control plane, and that plane is hosted by Citrix, so this makes this design a bit unique. And then data access requests are routed from this control plane to the customer or Citrix managed storage zones via storage zone controllers, right? That way, IT has complete flexibility over where the data is stored. Of course, mixed use cases are also possible, where ShareFile is used from within Works Mail application or from Windows Desktop and so on. So while simple to use from end user's perspective, there are a number of moving parts and interactions between various workspace suite components, as we see in this case. So where to start looking into if users complain about performance, or how to proactively detect issues in Citrix infrastructure. Well, these are some of the key questions, of course, then that need to be addressed, and of course today we are going to talk about a solution to these challenges. So, of course, enter System Center Operations Manager, or SCOM for short. This is going to be the tool that we are going to talk about today. So let's see why Workspace Suite and SCOM are such a good fit together. Now, Microsoft System Center, as we know, is a product family, right, that helps IT manage their private cloud. Now, SCOM in particular is specifically designed as a flexible monitoring platform that helps ensure predictable performance, availability of the physical, virtual, and cloud IT infrastructure. So with SCOM, what you can do is you can use management servers that orchestrate and delegate then the monitoring activity among agents that run on servers that you want to monitor, right? So it's agent-based monitoring approach. And then those agents store the collected monitoring information in the SCOM database and interact with SCOM administrators using, you can use either native console or web-based console. So some of the key SCOM concepts that are being used in the monitoring world are topology diagram views that visualize components, dependencies, and health of your target monitored environment. Then you have the Health Explorer views that allow you to drill down to health details of individual components. Then you have alert views that summarize the current and as well as past issues in your IT environment, and event views that are slightly different to alert views and show you all important Windows event log entries across your target environment. Then there's a concept of dashboard views, right? These are quick health check views where you are able to see different parts of your environment in one single view and quickly identify what might be misperforming. If you want to drill down then to the performance, you have the so-called performance views that can depict near real-time performance information about anything that is being measured. On the other side, sometimes you need something more than just visualizing certain performance parameter. You need really strong, powerful reports that are able to cumulatively look at the information and aggregate it together and present it in a meaningful way. So for this purpose, SCOM has implemented a concept of reports. And then the last element, I would say, is called tasks. And basically tasks allow administrators to interact, or if you like, execute scripts on target managed systems, right? Okay, so this has been a quick introduction to SCOM. For those of you who maybe are not that familiar with the platform and what are its key capabilities and concepts. But how do you connect Citrix and SCOM together, you may ask? Well, SCOM luckily enables you to extend its capabilities using the so-called management pack modules. So at Comtrade, we have developed a native SCOM management pack for the entire Citrix Workspace suite, so that basically SCOM and Citrix Administrator can now work together and leverage Operations Manager, then deliver a complete end-to-end Citrix monitoring, and the most importantly probably to be able to cover both infrastructure and end users perspective. This is really important. So basically the rest of the presentation is going to focus and dig much deeper into the Workspace suite monitoring capabilities. Okay, so we talked about Workspace suite use cases, right? So we are also going to demonstrate these use cases now. So we will begin with the Windows desktop and application delivery use case. So going back to the original, this component view of the Workspace suite, the following components are involved in the Windows desktop and application delivery. So those are the Netscaler, then the Storefront, delivery controllers, then the actual desktops and apps that are hosted on the hosting infrastructure, And you may use provisioning services or maybe not, and then of course database and license server are important components. But before we start with the first demos, just to be able to understand them slightly better, let me show you, let me talk briefly about key monitoring capabilities of each of these components. So first we'll just touch the Netscaler briefly. Netscaler's main monitoring capabilities can be on three kind of groups, right? First is the hardware level monitoring, where items such as appliance internal temperature, fan speed, power supply status are being monitored. Then the next set of capabilities is around OS level monitoring, where we monitor like high availability, CPU, memory, disk, network performance, and also appliance settings, right? And then the third level of monitoring is the what we call functionality level, where functions of the Netscaler are monitored, such as Netscaler gateway, load balancing, and others. The next component is Storefront, right? So Storefront, as we know, acts as a web front end for end users to access their desktops and apps. And here, key areas of concern are typically if access to the logon page is available, what are user logon times, what is availability of desktops and apps. So additional benefit, and really specific of the Storefront monitoring component, is that it is implemented as a synthetic probe. And the benefit of that is that you always know what the health of your front end is, even if no users are connecting to it, right? So synthetic probe does this automatically on a regular interval for you. All right, XenApp and XenDesktop, these are obviously the biggest area, the monitoring area. And the monitoring that is covered are capabilities around infrastructure monitoring. We look at whether delivery controls are healthy, database connectivity, hypervisor connectivity is okay. We also look at failed desktop registration, desktop group utilization, and so on. So that's infrastructure. On top of that, end user experience is equally important, and there we monitor things like end user logons, when they logged off, and everything that has been happening with the end user sessions in between, right? So which applications, which desktop they have used, what is the resource use, as well as what was their user experience. Next, then the provisioning services, right? It's kind of optional component, particularly used in large environments, where it just simplifies OS image management and delivers OS images to machines during the boot process, right? And areas of concern with provisioning services are typically like health of streaming process. Is the utilization of streaming servers balanced? Is access to OS images available, and so on. And really, if we quickly just touch the license server, which is kind of often a neglected part of the environment, right? But nevertheless, very important, right? If you run out of licenses, you immediately know that happened. So key areas of concern here are, of course, if license server is operational, what is the license usage, what is your subscription advantage, is it about to expire, and so on. So these are the things that we do there. Okay, so finally we came to the demo section, and before we dive into it, I just want to explain a little bit the demo environment first, so it's easier for you to track, what is being presented in the demo. So what we have here, obviously, is end users connecting into the Citrix environment via Netscaler that load balances access to two Storefront servers, and then CTX04 and CTX05 are the names, right? And then from these two Storefront servers, each of them points to two delivery controllers that are, for the sake of simplicity, just installed on the same system. And then delivery controllers then manage server OS, desktop OS machines that provide the actual apps and desktops, right? Very familiar. And then, of course, we have some infrastructure servers at the end. So let's begin with our first demo. So in this case, we are going to begin with Netscaler, right? Obviously, the Netscaler component monitoring is available in a special section of the SCOM. So after you install Workspace Suite Management Pack, you get all the components installed. And we will begin with topology overview of the Netscaler deployment. As you can see here, I have 2 Netscaler appliances. We are going to focus on the one that is part of the test environment. You see its properties. You can also launch its Health Explorer and just visualize all different checks that are being done with the appliance. So remember, we talked about hardware monitoring, right? So we are definitely doing hardware monitoring in this area. So we check fan speeds. If those are adequate, then we are also monitoring the power supply status, SSL card status, temperature monitors. So all these internal appliance ambient parameters that make sure that the appliance is healthy. So then we go on with the performance. The next level that we monitor is OS level monitoring, right? So things like CPU, memory, flash disk, and so on are being monitored here. Now you may ask, but where is the networking, right? Networking is the most important part of the Netscaler. That's why we have decided to dedicate a special part of the topology just to the networking section. Right. So in this case, you see all the NICs that are installed in the Netscaler, all the IP addresses configured, all the VLANs configured, and their relations to the network interface card. So all the details of the networking environment are being available here. And then there are functions of the Netscaler, such as access gateway. Right. It's discovered, all the virtual servers are being shown. Then SSL certificates, right? Very important. When you run out, when they expire, it's never fun, right? So you need to be prepared. Management pack is going to tell you this is happening. Then also the load balancing, an extremely important feature of the Netscaler, which of course we're also going to use in the demo. Here you see, for example, how our storefront is being load balanced. So all this is being visualized for you in the Netscaler topology view. So now the first demo is going to be around monitoring Netscaler settings, system settings, right? So Netscaler Management Pack is monitoring all system settings in your environment, and to demonstrate that, we are just going to change one of the settings. For this particular case, we are going to disable sync attack detection, right? And after we save this change, actually the monitoring module for Netscaler is going to, of course, detect this change. And as a result of that, it is going to raise an alert. And in this alert, you are actually, in the description of the alert, you are going to see what kind of change has been detected, from enabled to disabled, and on which appliance, and so on. So basically, this is, for example, one set of features that Netscaler monitoring module delivers. Now the second demo is going to be about the storefront, right? So obviously load balancing, very important feature of the Netscaler. Let's see how load balancing monitoring works. For that particular case, because this points to the storefront, we are going to stop one of the IIS servers on one of the storefront servers and see if the monitoring module will detect that. Obviously, yes, this has been detected, so the health state of this element immediately changes. So you see that one of the load balance servers are currently unavailable. Indeed, if you drill into the details, you're going to see that. And also alerting section where alerts pop up that you can forward to text messages show that there has been an issue with this particular load balance service. There's another alert that also tells you that capacity of the load balancing has been decreased. So that's additional value add information for you, so that you know that this particular load balancing still works, but capacity has been reduced. So what we are going to show is the storefront portion, and also obviously because storefront monitoring is also available, also this part of the monitoring needs to be able to tell us something about the issue. And indeed, what you can see on this particular server, the monitor that is responsible to check if IIS is actually operating and logon web page shows up, is this object is complaining that obviously this website is not available on this particular server, right? So this is additional information that tells you that also the storefront portion of the monitoring has detected the problem, not just the Netscaler, right? So it's additional value to that. And of course, let's resolve the problem now. We've started back the IIS on that particular system, and we should wait, and after a short while the health state changes back to normal. So as you can see, obviously this shows that everything is okay. All alerts are also automatically cleared. This is a normal SCOM operation. So the way SCOM works is if a specific problem disappears, it will also clear all the alerts related to it, but not clear completely, right? You are still going to see those alerts in the closed alerts window. Okay, so we've related to our demo setup, we have now seen how Netscaler monitoring scope, what kind of coverage it is. And as you were able to see basically what Netscaler monitoring does, it monitors Netscaler appliance itself, and through the load balancing, it was also actively monitoring the kind of layers that are configured via load balancing, which in this case was Storefront, right? So that's the initial step that we've done in this demo. Now let's take a look at the next demo that is going to dig deeper into the Storefront layer. So the Storefront monitoring capabilities are, as you remember, this is implemented as a synthetic probe. And let's take a look at how, first the topology looks like. So what we have is a server group at the top level with two CTX4 and CTX5 storefront servers, and each storefront server, of course, runs, again, a number of services that all need to be healthy and exposes a store, in this case. This store actually aggregates information from one particular Xen desktop environment, and this Xen desktop environment is connectable through two XML brokers, which you are able to see here, right? They are CTX4 and CTX5. They're actually XML brokers for this environment. And then on the right-hand side, we see Store Web Receiver, which is checking the website. So what we are going to do now is play a little bit with the brokers, right? So we are going to stop one of the brokers, see what happens. Now you see we actually are causing an error on the other side of things, and see if the synthetic probe will notice that. And indeed, you're able to see that the synthetic probe has detected an issue with this broker. Obviously, it is not responding. And this, again, points to the issue with the infrastructure, and you as a Citrix administrator are notified by that, and you can jump and fix the problem quickly before it impacts the end users, right? So one of the things to note here is the benefit of the storefront monitoring approach is that the Netscaler is not necessarily going to see this problem because it's too far away, right? It's happening on a broker, which also you see is revealed in the Netscaler console. So this is really the additional benefit of having Storefront in place, because Storefront is going to be able to see deeply into the other side and detect the problem. So we are starting back the broker service, right? So everything should now go back to normal. We are going to wait a little short while, and bam, there it is, a CTX05 element to the XML broker, which represents the delivery controller on that server, is now responding, and alerts have been all cleared up. So everything is healthy again. Now, of course, with Storefront, you have some other views too. So this is the so-called dashboard view, where you're able to see the health state of all the components. So you're able to see things like the health of the servers. So you're able to see the health of stores, broker servers, as well as web receivers, right? So every component in a single view is visualized. And then, of course, you can also visualize the broker performance. So as we said, the synthetic probe is periodically checking the XML brokers on the other side, how well they respond, how quickly they respond, and here you can actually visualize the XML broker response times from the Storefront perspective. Again, very valuable information. Obviously, in my case, everything is acting pretty quickly. Okay. So back to the demo setup diagram, right? We have now seen how the Storefront layer is being monitored, and obviously it is obvious that Storefront servers are able to monitor themselves, as well as they are able to check external functioning of delivery control layer, right? So they're able to see one step further. And I think you begin to see the pattern here, right? So each Citrix layer that is being monitored, not only it monitors the component itself for which it is responsible, but it also actively looks at the next layer it depends on, right? And you will see this approach implemented across the entire Workspace Suite management pack. So we really believe that such approach is key to effective monitoring because it enables you to quickly determine the root cause of any kind of availability of performance issue. Okay, so now we are on to the next demo, which is going to be about how we can monitor the Xen Desktop and Xen App layer. We are back to SCOM, right back to console, navigating down to the Xen Apps and Desktop area, and we will begin again with the topology view. As it is very familiar to us already, we see one Xen Desktop site with 2 delivery controllers. We see some apps being available as well as site information. So management pack is able to monitor these services. One of the most important ones is of course the broker service, and a number of checks are done on the broker service, such as connectivity to database, connectivity to license server, connectivity to other brokers, and so on. So very thorough infrastructure monitoring checks. Then it's important also to monitor delivery groups, right? These are really the key elements that end users access. So you can have desktop OS, server OS delivery groups, like in this case. We have Windows 7 desktop available, which is a desktop OS group, and a server OS delivery group, which is hosted by 3 server OS servers. And then, of course, we also check hypervisor connectivity. So does the environment have the ability to connect to the hypervisor at this point? And applications, we should not forget about those, right? You can also publish to the end users access to individual apps. You can put them into folders, and all of that is nicely visualized in the topology. And for each app, you are able to see where it is hosted on which delivery group, and if this is a server OS delivery group, see underlying servers. So again, very, very thorough infrastructure monitoring. But let's switch tracks. Let's go into the end user experience monitoring now. In other words, how are the end users doing? By switching to session alerts, we're able to see issues that end users are currently experiencing. For example, in this case, we have high desktop OS CPU utilization. So this particular VDI is currently using 100% CPU, and it belongs to a particular user, and you have some other useful information about that user. Now, with a single click, what we want is we want to see what has been historically going on with this user, right? So just by clicking on this report on the right-hand side, which is about desktop and application activity, I'm able to immediately jump to this user session and see some of the details of this user session, like what was the logon time, where's the client connecting from, which Netscaler it is using, and so on, right? So I see a lot of information about this end user session. This is all captured in SCOM database, right, in SCOM data warehouse. But there's more. You can even drill down into the details, such as performance information about this end user session, like CPU in this case. You see it is spiking a lot, right? So this is obviously some powerful user. Or memory usage, right? What it is in megabytes or in percentage. Physical or virtual memory. Does the user have any hard page faults? So that's also a sign of bad performance. What about the disk activity? So, what kind of disk read and write traffic in kilobytes per second the user has, IOPS, or disk latency. Right? Having a disk latency is never very healthy for the performance. And then the network, right? What kind of traffic is this VDI creating, read and write in kilobytes per second? And the last and probably the most important part is the latency and session traffic. So what is the session latency? What is the IC round trip time on this end user session? Here you can really confirm the end user is having performance problems. But that's not all, right? You can do even more. You can see this end user's activity also through a director with a single click, right? Director is a great tool to look at the end users in real time, right? And what Management Pack does, it provides you a single-click access to this end user session, so you're able to see what is going on with this user at the time of when the issue has been detected. If we sort this, this user's processes by CPU, we are able to see, well, quite heavy CPU usage. Obviously, the user is running the heavy loaded Xer, which is, on-purpose application that I'm just running for the sake of this demo, so that I can recreate this kind of a problem. And of course, we can resolve this problem very easily by just ending the process for the end user, right? So you as an administrator, you could jump into the end user session and just help the user out if this is the best course of action for this particular case. So this integration with Director, also very, very useful feature. With a single click, you can jump to the details about the end user session in SCOM, or jump into the real-time overview of the end user's activity. Okay, so again, if you go back to our demo setup, the similar pattern emerges, right? So monitoring of delivery controllers covers monitoring of controllers themselves, as well as connected desktop and server OS machines, and on top of that, or because of that, also user experience that includes user logon times and all their end user activity. And the similar coverage is also available across provisioning services, license server, and database. So, and the end result of this approach is really a true end-to-end monitoring coverage of the desktop and application delivery use case in the Citrix Workspace suite. So you actually have no more blind spots, no more guessing, right? So you always know exactly what is going on in your Citrix environment. All right. So we've covered the desktop and the application virtualization. Let's go to the second use case, which is the mobile device management. So going back to this workspace suite architecture, the following components are involved in the mobile device management use case. So we have Netscalers, device manager, app controllers, and then of course mobile apps, database, and license server. So let's drill into the device manager app controller piece a little bit. So it is important to understand, right, when you do this Xenmobile monitoring, if device manager has any kind of availability issues and what the resource usage is, what is the app control and database connectivity, what are typical issues, are there any license issues, and of course, maybe the most important, are there any non-compliant devices being used in the environment, right? Non-compliance, as you may know, it can be of several types, such as maybe local encryption is not enabled, or users using any blacklisted apps, or user is not using any whitelisted apps, or if any devices have been rooted or have weak passwords, right? So these are all kind of key concerns when it comes to device manager app controller. So it's time for a demo, quick demo of these monitoring capabilities. So again, we are navigating down to the Xenmobile section. We are going to look at the topology. The topology reveals that we have device manager and app controller servers, and then these continue down. Basically, clicking on the device control enables you to also see the console URL, so you can basically, with a single click again, connect to the Xenmobile console and quickly check what's going on as a manager. As an administrator of this console. Then things that are discovered or the device manager are also the Tomcat service. Obviously, it's very important. Then we have devices, any kind of non-compliance is going to be detected there, and the database issues, right? So again, we are going to play a little bit, right? So first we are going to make this Xenmobile database offline. So we are going to just disconnect it and see if the monitoring tool will notice that, right? So we went into SQL, have made Xenmobile database offline, and obviously we are now waiting to see whether the management pack is going to detect that. Obviously, yes, it's been detected, so database is not available, and the end users obviously, and you're going to have manageability issues because of that, right? So Xenmobile cannot work if database is not available, and therefore, the whole status is changed to critical. So we also are able to see this in the alert view. So alert basically says the same thing, and you can use this alert to trigger, to open tickets in your ticketing system, for example. In SCOM, this is very easy to do. So let's repair the problem now. Let's put the database back online and see if the management pack will, resolve the status. So it should turn back to green, back to normal, and of course, as we are used to, all the alerts should be disappearing. So this is kind of what we like to call the infrastructure monitoring use case. Now we'll just go to the Xenmobile console and simulate one more problem, which is non-compliance, right? So in reality, if you would have an end user, for example, that would jailbreak his device, and your company, of course, does not allow that for security reasons, then the Works agent would detect that problem. But in this case, we are just going to simulate that this has happened. We can do that by going to the console and just say, well, let's make this device jailbroken. And then let's see if the management pack is going to detect this non-compliance, right? Again, these non-compliances are showing up under the devices. So all the devices connected to this MDM server are being monitored, and of course this non-compliance has been detected. So as you can see, the rooted device has been spotted, and then here we are able to see that we have a number of non-compliant devices, which is one. We have obviously one rooted device as well. And there is one more thing that is interesting here, right? Immediately when this happens, the question you ask yourself is, which appliance is non-compliant, right? What we have done, we have built into the product the so-called Diagnostic Action, which automatically takes a snapshot of all of your non-compliant devices and provides the output along with the alert, right? So you are able to see exactly as part of SCOM monitoring tool the problem when it happened, and also the snapshot of all the devices that have been involved, right? So you have a complete record what has happened and when. Okay. So which brings us to the last use case, which is monitoring enterprise data access. So here I will be very short. Obviously, this is supported by the ShareFile component, and what is particularly interesting with ShareFile is that it has the so-called control plane layer that is hosted by Citrix, right? And also storage zones that hold data, and it can be hosted by Citrix, but also in Azure, Amazon, or in private cloud. Now, because ShareFile component monitoring is going to be available next month, I'm not yet going to be showing it off and do any demos today, but definitely stay tuned for more details as we go on. So let's conclude now. So we have started some 20 minutes ago showing how Citrix and SCOM admins can work together when it comes to Citrix, right? But why stop here, right? We know that very often the Citrix experts also need to work with Active Directory guys or database guys to resolve really complex problems, right? SCOM has actually monitoring capabilities for all these technologies, and because of that, it can really serve as a true operations bridge for all subject matter experts in your organization. So this single pane of glass approach to monitoring has a number of benefits. Such as reduction of downtime incidents, increased availability, faster resolution time of problems, and really the end result is optimize the use of your IT resources and higher quality of IT operations, right? So that is just some food for thought maybe. Okay, so we are coming to the end of this session. Obviously, I would like to also invite you to come to the events. As I've said, we are in the first 2 weeks of January attending Microsoft Ignite as exhibitor. So if you're there, come to Expo Hall booth 211. Visit us, we'll be there. As well as the week after, there's Citrix Synergy event in Orlando. And this year we have a particularly rich attendance there, so we are going to have instructor-led learning lab at the Synergy. So this is going to be run on Sunday, May 10th. If you haven't registered yet, try to do so, or just stop there. Sometimes not even all places are populated, and if there are any free, you can actually attend, as far as I recall. Then we have also a breakout session. It's going to be on Thursday, May 14th, and of course we're also exhibiting, right, in Expo Hall booth number 507. So, to conclude, I have some resources to guide you here. I will just leave this slide on. So, obviously we have a lot of technical videos and demos. You can go and see Comtrade Products YouTube channel. You can come to Citrix Ready website or to comtradeproducts.com, which is our website. Follow us on Twitter, request evaluations. You're very welcome to do so. As well as, contact us directly. So I have listed 2 contacts, myself for EMEA and Asia Pacific, as well as Jason Gravel for Americas. You're very welcome to reach out directly to us, and we'll be happy to support you. So with that, I would conclude this presentation. And I believe we can, start answering some questions that may have popped up during the presentation.
Thanks, Bogdan. I think also it's great to point out that at Citrix Synergy, the instructor-led class is also available as a self-paced training, also self-paced lab. So you can either go to the instructor-led or do the self-paced. So there was a question regarding the PowerPoint, and will that also be sent out to the attendees?
Yes.
Yes, of course we can make this available.
Yes, I will take that. So yeah, so we will make this presentation available on our website, and we will send the links to all the attendees.
Yeah. So yeah, a question just came in about recorded, and yes, it has been recorded, and it will be available in a day or 2.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes. So any other questions coming through? We don't have any other questions right now. So there were some questions regarding pricing. The pricing is based off the type of Citrix license you have, so it's really best to contact Bogdan or Jason, or you can send it to managementproducts@comtrade.com, and somebody will get in touch with you shortly and give you more details. Bogdan, a question just came in. When will monitoring be available for Xenmobile 10?
All right, that's a good question. So basically, we have completed obviously the Xenmobile 9 support, and Xenmobile 10 is firmly on our roadmap. So there are no final plans yet, but I would be surprised not to see it like in a couple of months, like Q3, I would say, maybe early Q4. But definitely, it's firmly on our roadmap, and it's coming. If you are by any chance using or planning to use Xenmobile 10, please reach out to us. We'd be happy to hear from you, and maybe enroll you in the beta program if you like. We would be very happy to do so. So just let us know if you are interested.
Bogdan, with the evaluation licenses, is that restrictive in any way, or is it use of the full product?
The evaluation licenses are only time limited, right? As far as functionality goes, the product is fully functional. So you get 60-day eval, right? For 60 days, it's fully functional, no limitations. Yeah.
Yeah. So is the Workspace Suite one management pack, do you buy it singly, or do you buy them as a bundle?
Yeah. So the Workspace Suite is a single management pack download. You also acquire this as a single license. So we haven't touched really the licensing models, right? So the Workspace Suite licensing model for management pack is actually exactly the same as for the base Citrix product, right? So it's per user, So the same way, if you own, for example, 2,000 Workspace Suite licenses, you need to acquire 2,000 Management Pack licenses for Workspace Suite, and you will actually get full functionality across all the components we've seen today, right? So the Xenmobile, ShareFile, XenApp, and so on. So it's basically all included in this single license.
And John Foster pointed out that the Netscaler is separate. It's sold on a per appliance basis, and that's not included in the suite. So thanks, John, for pointing that out.
Oh yeah, that's true. That's true. I apologize. The Netscaler is, I think also Citrix is licensing it separately. So basically, yeah, I would say we are really, our licensing model really tries to be aligned with the way Citrix is licensing their product, right? So same way.
If I already own the Xen Desktop Management Pack, can I upgrade it to the Workspace Suite Management Pack?
Oh yes, absolutely. You can. You definitely can. So we have upgrade SKUs available. So yeah, just reach out to us if you'd like to do that. We'll be happy to help.
So any other questions that we have? We still have a few minutes. A question just came in. Are there any plans to change your licensing mechanism?
Not really. So what our philosophy has always been, right? Our licensing model tries to stay aligned with the way Citrix is licensing their product as much as possible, right? And so far, this is very well accepted. I like to say that we do not like to punish customers for virtualizing, right? And let me explain what that means. Basically, if you are, maybe not using virtualization, which, nowadays is, you don't find this very often anymore, but, if, for example, for your environment, you would need to set up 10 Citrix servers, right, if running on physical. But then on the other side, somebody who virtualizes would have to set up maybe 40 or 50 servers to accommodate the same number of users. If we would have any other licensing model than user-based, the customer who has 40, 50 servers will have to pay 4 to 5 times more for monitoring, right? But he would still have the same user base. So it's just not fair, right? So we feel that user-based licensing model is a very good fit for the Citrix technology, Citrix Workspace Suite as all, right?
Okay, another question. Can a customer modify, customize reports, or is that something that Comtrade does?
So reports are, if you know SCOM is based on, various Microsoft technologies, and one of them is obviously SQL Server and SQL Server reporting services. So all SCOM reports that we deliver are normal SQL Server reporting services reports. So if you have knowledge internally in your organization to, do that, you can extend SCOM even by yourself, right? You need a little bit of integration knowledge, but it's not that bad. So just SQL reporting services, create your own report. You can use even ours as a baseline if you like, or as a model how it's done, and you can create your own reports as well. On the other side, the data is in the data warehouse. It's not encrypted or anything like that, so you can always extract it in any way you like, and maybe use simply Excel to play with the data, right? So all these things are possible if you want something that is not out of the box available as part of a reporting package.
Great. There's a question here regarding the download and of the eval. They're asking if the links will be there to get the eval. You can go to the Comtrade website to get the evaluation, to request an evaluation, and then you won't get it immediately. that generates an email to the Comtrade team, and then we'll generate some licenses and send out the link to do that download. So, and there'll be a follow-up email that will you'll give you all the details. But we'll make sure that you get the links for the to get the download, and you can actually in the resource guide that the resources that Bogdan has shown on the screen, the link there will allow you to do that, generate that request. Bogdan, one more question. It's regarding licensing, and is the host name required for licensing?
The host names are not required for licensing. As I said, the license model is user-based. Well, technically, we do capture, names of, for example, delivery control servers, right? So that is actually captured when you generate a license request. So that, yeah, that is true. So those names are captured, but nothing else, no IP addresses or anything, right?
Okay, another question came in here. Is monitoring available for Xenserver 6.5? And yes, we do have monitoring for Xenserver 6.5.
Correct. Yeah, we have not explicitly mentioned Xenserver, but yeah, there's full capabilities available for Xenserver monitoring as well, and it is part of the Workspace Suite license as well, if you choose to do so.
Okay. Any other questions? But we're coming to the end of our time here, but I just want to give one last chance for anybody to ask a question. If questions do come up later that you do have, do feel free to reach out to us at the emails provided on the sheet there, and we will do our best to get those answers to you quickly. So, Shashidhar, I think I'm going to pass it back over to you.
Thanks, John. And thanks, Bogdan, for the wonderful webinar. We really had a good Q&A session as well. So there are some more unanswered questions, but due to lack of time, we'll take it up some other time, or probably like we could just send an email and we will answer them shortly via email. So with that said, we are about to end this webinar. Once again, I would like to thank you all for attending today's webinar in this Citrix Ready product webinar series. This concludes our broadcast. Thank you, everyone. Good day.